Introduction. An unconscious existence. In today's world, there is a lot of chaos. Our air, water, soil, and animals are being harmed and polluted rapidly. There is an increase in dislike and anger between various ethnic and racial groups. We are starting to feel afraid of people who are not like us. Our movies and entertainment are full of violence and crime. The only difference between us and the Romans who were watching gladiators fighting and killing each other as entertainment is location. We are not watching it anymore at the Colosseum. We watch it from the comfort of our homes and movie theaters while eating popcorn. In this chaotic and fast-paced life we are experiencing these days, it becomes an expectation that our importance in most societies is to run fast and to get ahead of someone else in a global rat race. Like a hamster on a wheel, everyone runs faster daily, imagining they are getting somewhere. However, we need to realize that we are running on a hamster wheel. The faster one runs, the faster the wheel turns. There was once a king walking in his garden who saw a beggar sitting next to the wall near the garden. The king was in a good mood that day and went to the beggar. He told him to ask for whatever he desired, and the king would give it to him. The beggar looked at the king and said, "You are more of a beggar than me. I am fine after getting my meal for the day. But you are such a beggar that no matter what you conquer or what you have, it is never enough for you. You keep begging for more." What we need in such chaos in the world and our planet is not more division, hatred, or greed. Humanity requires unity and wisdom. We need to search for universal principles and values that can embrace us all together and guide us toward becoming loving, conscious human beings. It is important to remember to be more compassionate toward our planet and other living things on it. We are still like prisoners trapped in the prison of our ignorance, vanity, deceptions, and greed. To escape our prison, we must help each other, have a map, a plan, and leadership to assist us toward our liberation. We also need the wisdom of other enlightened masters who have already escaped from this unconscious jail. It is important for each of us to realize that we are not human yet. It is not a sign of our humanity that we stand and walk on our legs, use tools, speak a language, have a higher intelligence, or have values and morality. We can only call ourselves human beings when we live consciously and our hearts are filled with love and compassion. We are like caterpillars in a cocoon of time, transforming into human beings. To accomplish this transition, we need a guide, certain principles, willpower, aim, and sincerity. If a person is seeking a therapist, it means they are not functioning well. Similarly, if one sees a doctor, it means the person is ill. We don't see our therapist because we feel great and simply want to grow as a human being. We don't see a doctor because we feel healthy and only want the doctor to keep us in good health. The dictionary defines health as the absence of illness. There is no definition of what health is. In ancient China, people used to see their healers to keep them healthy. It's like going to the gym regularly, not because we are sick, but rather with the intention of keeping ourselves healthy. The approach in healing needs to be directed toward growth and being aware of our being rather than our doing. The purpose of our growth as a human is to integrate self-awareness and self-observation within our daily lives. Observation means being aware with no thoughts, with no inner talking, with no chattering inside, just remaining with what is as it is. The aim of our healing and growth needs to go beyond focusing on dysfunction around life events and problems toward self-actualization and personal growth. We have moved away from the teaching of ancient wisdom keepers, turning instead to psychotherapy and pharmaceutical medications. The focus of Western psychotherapy is to keep people functional. However, to be functional in life is not enough. Just functioning daily is not of any significance. It means living a repetitive and a routine life and having the capacity to cope with our struggles. It does not give meaning and insight into the reality of our being, and it does not take anyone near their full potential. A robot or a car can function better than a human, but they are not alive. They are not evolving into higher beings. The purpose of the Eastern approach and wisdom of the awakened masters and prophets is not to make people functional. The focus is to transform humanity into their higher and conscious selves. Healing is about changing our level of being. Being is who we really are, and to change it, we must not just be satisfied with who we are. A person needs to continuously work toward becoming. A caterpillar can never transform into a butterfly if it is happy to be a caterpillar. Our world needs wisdom. Enlightened masters have come to disturb us from our deep and cozy sleep. We think of ourselves as awake, conscious beings. This is often a lie. When we examine ourselves deeply, we discover that we are not as conscious as we believe we are. We unconsciously sleep several hours a day, and when we are awake during the day, we may function unconsciously and mechanically. We think that we are awake, but we are not. We function throughout our day like robots. How often do you drive and are conscious of your driving? We often drive without being aware of driving. The body drives robotically, but our mind is somewhere else, like an Alzheimer's patient, physically there, but mentally absent. How often do you eat, walk, talk, or shower consciously, fully aware of all your senses? If we watch ourselves, we realize that often we are on autopilot. Our body performs a task, but our mind is absent. We are often not fully present in our lives. Thoughts come and go. Emotions and feelings come and go. We move and talk and eat and act without being aware. Are we conscious human beings? When we observe ourselves consciously within, there is not a singular person inside, but a mob that we mistakenly call I. We are continuously being hijacked by different emotions or thoughts throughout the day without any awareness. Someone asked Buddha, "How can I practice consciousness?" He said, "Just observe your breath without any thoughts or emotion for 5 minutes." The person said, "That is it? This is very easy." Buddha said, "Yes, it is easy to say, but very hard to do." So often we speak of truth with a capital T, as if it was static. Truth means something is pure and innocent without any fabrication. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It does not need proof. It just needs eyes to see it and to be witnessed. There are two kinds of truths, an objective truth and a subjective truth. There is a difference between a scientist and a mystic. A scientist looks at truth as either or, black or white, right or wrong. This is an external objective truth. A chair is a chair, and it is not a car. A mystic, on the other hand, searches for truth's complexity in a mystical and subjective way, like a child full of wonder and curiosity. One needs to be present and conscious to see things as they are without contaminating them with judgment, ideas, or thoughts. To see truth, we need to look at it as if through the eyes of a child. Children look at everything with innocent eyes, a beginner's eyes. In Zen, there is a saying that one cannot speak of truth. The moment it is spoken, it becomes a lie. To look at things consciously means to see everything as in a mirror. It is what it is. Truth is not like gold, which we can find and claim to possess. Truth evolves eternally. It is always beyond our grasp. There is always more. It is like a horizon. As you try to get closer to it, it goes further. Like the horizon that we cannot possess, we can never reach a point to hold onto the truth. We just need to look at it openly and consciously. The moment we hold on to the truth, it becomes like a plastic flower. It is not alive anymore. It looks good, but it is a dead truth. It is a mummified truth. Wisdom is open and flows like a river. We think when someone is wise, they know everything. That is not the case. A wise person can only see things as they are, without judgment, and respond to them consciously rather than robotically. The river is fresh as opposed to a pool because it is always moving. It is not stagnated like a pond. Wisdom is the state of being, open and not stuck in truth like a rock. Wisdom means to stand at the river and look at its flow. It is the state of not looking at the frozen river, but looking at the truth and life accordingly, with open and curious eyes. There is a difference between wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom is inner truth and knowing based on one's existential experience. It does not come from outside of us through reading scriptures, books, or going to university and gathering information. Wisdom grows in the depth of our consciousness and life experiences. Wisdom is pure and innocent. Knowledge is the mind's function. It is gathering information externally by accumulating and memorizing it in the mind. Through knowledge, we become knowledgeable, not wise. Wisdom is like a well, where the water comes from within, from an inner source. Knowledge is like a pool that one needs to keep maintaining and adding to it from outside. A person might have a PhD, but it does not mean they are wise. Yeshua, Jesus in Greek, did not have a degree from any university, nor was he as knowledgeable as the priests, Pharisees, that he was challenging. But he had wisdom. Knowledge creates thoughts in the mind, but wisdom expands our consciousness. Knowledge means to think, but wisdom means to see and to know. That is why most of the wisdom keepers have come to help us to see. They have come to cure not our external eyes, but rather our internal eyes, to cure our internal blindness, our ignorance. However, it is important in life to have both knowledge and wisdom, like a bird with two wings. We gain knowledge to drive a car, to do a heart surgery, or to build a house. However, knowledge is not enough in one's life. We also need to gain wisdom to not make the same mistake again, to raise our children, to be with each other in a healthier way, and to find who we really are, not as who we are, rather, whom we have the potential to become. The more open and receptive we are, the more truth and wisdom we can receive. We cannot create truth. Our inner work is to keep ourselves open like a container and fill ourselves with more of it. It is impossible to plant an oak tree in a small pot, nor can we pour an ocean into a mug. To receive the truth, we need to have openness, willingness, and receptiveness. The truth will set you free, but it will hurt. A problem with our information-rich technological societies is that there is so much information and sadly little wisdom. Information is at our fingertips, and it is tempting to think that we know all there is to know. In our information bubbles, there is no room for other perspectives. Our hard drives are too full, often full of junk that we don't even know that we have picked up along the way. We are like camels burdened by too many weights and the burden of others' beliefs loaded on us since we were a child. There is a Buddhist tea story in which a wise monk serves tea to an aspiring student. The monk continues to pour the tea even when the cup overflows. Wondering why, the monk explains to the student that he came filled with so much knowledge that there was no room for curiosity, no room for new insights, no room for deeper wisdom. Perhaps we need to unload ourselves from all past imposed education, truth, and beliefs, and re-examine all our knowing from the start again. It comes to a point in our lives that we need to die as a phoenix and be reborn again. However, this time our birth comes from our own truth, from our own search, from our own discovery. Hopefully, we all come to a point in our lives when we say, enough of being a camel. I want to be Buddha, Yeshua, Jesus, Zarathustra, an awakened one. I want to choose my destiny and who truly I am. I don't want to be a sheep. I want to be a shepherd in my life. The name Yeshua rather than Jesus has been chosen for this book. It needs to be pointed out that Jesus' real name was Yeshua in Hebrew and Joshua in English. The name Jesus was given to him by the Greeks years after his crucifixion. However, Jesus' real name was Yeshua. Tell me the truth, but don't tell me the truth. As a therapist, I once had a family therapy session with parents and their teenage son. The parents discovered that their teenager had been smoking marijuana for a few months, and they were upset that he had lied about it. Their goal in therapy was for me to work with their son so that he would be truthful. During an individual session, the teenager admitted that he had been smoking pot for 5 years. I encouraged him to be honest with his parents. Hesitantly, he agreed, and in the next session, he told the truth, as his parents had requested. The parents were furious and began shouting during the session. After a few minutes, I turned to the son and said, "Don't tell the truth to your parents anymore. Don't tell them the truth until they are ready to handle your truth-telling." Like those parents, are we ready for new truths or to explore deeper wisdom? The writer of the Gospel of John said, "The truth will set you free." The truth will set you free, but first it will hurt and make you miserable. It hurts to let go of what you believed to be true before. Comfort is easier to seek than truth. Truth is disturbing. Opening ourselves up to the truth hurts because we must let go of what we have believed in. That is why society kills the truth keepers like Zarathustra or Yeshua. We murder them hoping to kill the truth. We can murder them, but one cannot kill the truth. It will emerge again like the spring after a long winter period. Winter cannot kill spring. It only holds spring until the time comes to appear fresh again. Truth is like spring. It is always fresh, alive, and pregnant with so many possibilities and potential. Intention. One of the main purposes of this book is to stay away from herd mentality and to follow what has been known blindly. Questioning, doubting, examining, and reevaluating our beliefs is the beginning of one's growth. This book is intended to create reflections and questions for the readers, rather than providing an answer or an intellectual and academic discussion about religion and spirituality. Humanity is slowly drowning in a quicksand of consumerism and meaningless, despite all its scientific and technological achievements. We need to create a humanity that rises above the current circumstances. The teachings and guidance of enlightened masters such as Buddha, Yeshua, Jesus, Zarathustra, and Lao Tzu are more important now than ever to lead us toward a higher consciousness. Let's allow the truth to be like a mother embracing us all, regardless of our differences, in her arms to nourish our hungry souls with the milk of wisdom. Let's pause for a bit in our busy days and search for truth, as all the enlightened masters have guided us for centuries. We cannot reach our ultimate potential if we resist change and ignore our inner seeds of wisdom. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins. Yeshua, Buddha, and Zarathustra's fresh wisdom teachings did not fit into the minds of the religious leaders of their times. All our lights need to come together and become the sun in this darkness we are entering. It is time to wake up. Although there is a voice of many awakened ones expressed here, Zarathustra's teachings have been explored more as the foundation of many other wisdom keepers. The book is contributed to him, Zarathustra Spitama. Although he lived about 5,000 years ago in Central Asia, Persia, he was ahead of his time. His message and teachings were meant for this generation. He had an awakened spirit, and he planted the seeds of consciousness years ago for our time to come. Like Yeshua, Jesus, who brought Lazarus back to life from the cave, Perhaps this book can bring the wisdom of Zarathustra that has been forgotten and kept in the cave of history for centuries back to life once more. Zarathustra tells us to seek the truth everywhere. Don't limit yourself in your search for the truth. Go see what Buddha says, what Moses and Yeshua say. Be like a desert, waiting for a drop of truth to fall and quench your thirsty soul. Be open to including different pieces of the puzzle of many truths, whether you agree or disagree, whether it hurts you or comforts you. Truth is much more like a verb rather than a noun. It is more relative than static. Let's get together, like being near a fireplace where we all can pause, warm up, be open, listen, and reflect upon it. The concept that has been presented here is only a finger pointing to your own inner wisdom, where all the answers are stored. Wisdom is Zarathustra's aim in his teachings, awakening us to who we really are. He is a gardener encouraging us to plant the seed of our existence to bloom to a higher conscious being. He does not need to see us as a caterpillar. He sees in each of us the potential of being a butterfly. Zarathustra is not here to impose himself on us. Rather, he is a loving father, a teacher, and a guide who brings us all under the same roof, despite our differences. He is not a guru, but rather an alarm clock to wake us up to the dawn of our true existence. He is just a rooster crowing to wake us up from our deep sleep. He never asks anyone to follow him. He does not need followers. He asks you to follow your own intelligence, your own wisdom, your own consciousness.